Okay, on to our final tip, which is about being comparative. Being comparative is about not just disproving your opposition's case, but also building up your own. And being comparative is good. It helps you to win debates because it lets you be really precise about where your case is stronger and higher impact than your opposition's. And this looks like doing three things. Firstly, it looks like always asking yourself, why is this better on your side of the debate? So when you're making a critique of your opposition's case, follow it up by explaining why that's not a problem for you. If you point out a harm in their case, why is that better on your side of the debate? And that really pushes you not just to attack their case, but to defend your own. The second thing we're going to do to be really comparative is to provide clear and justified characterization of the world on either side of the debate. And doing that makes it really straightforward for the adjudicator to compare what either side's outcomes look like. So you really want to try and evoke a bit of a picture of what's different from your side to theirs. And thirdly, we're going to pay attention to doing clear quantification of the differences between our side and theirs. And when I say quantification, I don't necessarily mean precise numbers, but we should be providing indications of the scale of differences between our side and our opponents. So here's an example. Let's say we had the debate that Western countries should pressure Ethiopia to allow Tigray, a region within Ethiopia, which is currently in a state of conflict with the overall state of Ethiopia. It should allow Tigray to secede, so become its own nation. An affirmative in defending this motion suggests that this is going to reduce conflict in the region, in Ethiopia, by dying down that kind of independence conflict, and by stopping things like the army coming in and fighting rebels in Tigray and so on. So that's the claim we hear from affirmative. Now, I think it's probably pretty obvious that there's a degree of conflict on both sides of the debate. Obviously, there are rebels in Tigray who have grievances against the Ethiopian government. Obviously, the Ethiopian army is likely to have at least some kind of tensions and interactions with them on either side of the debate. However, what we want to do on side negative is be very, very clear about why those tensions are much worse on side affirmative. So we might say something like, well, side affirmative has claimed that they make the region more peaceful, but we think this is untrue because the West pressuring Ethiopia to do this is likely to, do things like bring other countries into the conflict, make it a proxy war. Tigray as a country would be quite destabilized because it is a relatively small, poor, and conflict-ridden region, and as a result, this overall would not lead to a lack of conflict in the region. In fact, we think it is going to be specifically worse because it brings more actors in, because it worsens long-run tensions because Ethiopia has been kind of humiliated. You can probably think of some more reasons, but what I'm doing there is to suggest perhaps there is conflict that exists on either side of the debate, but there are independent reasons in operation as to why it would be worse on side affirmatives. Cool. All right, so just quickly to summarize then, there are three things that kind of fundamentally underlie good and complex rebuttal. Firstly, it's strategic. We're thinking about where we can win the debate. We're not just throwing claims into the debate, but instead thinking about how they're going to help us win. Secondly, we're going to be charitable. And that means we're going to take our opposition at their best. We're going to be very generous when analyzing their points in order to show the adjudicator that even when we're rebutting the opposition's strongest points, we can still win. And thirdly, by being comparative, we're going to clearly show where in the debate we have beat our opposition and by how much, characterizing that for the adjudicator so that they can see why our world is better than our opposition's. I hope these tips help. Cool.